Yes.
Sure. Hello all. I'll be the art counter for the evening. My job is to make note of the words that we use, So these are the habits that we are trying to inculcate to remove these words from our speaking habits. So the one I just used. So once we have towards the end of the meeting, I'll share individually how many filler words were used by individual when they have the speech. So that was the
Thank you, Majid. Olivia, can you tell us the responsibilities of the general evaluator tonight?
Good afternoon, evening, everyone. My responsibility as a general evaluator is just to take note of the general flow of the meeting. So I write down things like whether the meeting started on time, how did it go. I will get up and speak a little bit about the progression of the meeting, and I will also call up the other evaluators for the timer, the counter, the grammarian report. I will ask for those reports and I will summarize it with just a general feedback on how the meeting progressed.
Thank you, Olivia. And last but not least, I'm also the grammarian for tonight. So I will be looking out for good application and proper application of the English language, as well as doing my best job to find moments where people misuse the English language. All in the effort to remind people the importance of using the English language properly and trying to adjust, getting over the nerves that might inspire someone to use the language in the wrong way. It's very important that when you're on the lectern that you communicate very well and you do your best to make sure when you speak, you're speaking clearly and well and people aren't confused about what you're trying to say. So we've gone over the general evaluator, the timer, the off counter, and the grammarian. With that said, now we can get to the prepared speeches portion of our meeting tonight. And our first speaker is a veteran member of our club, one of our veteran members named Maurice, and he's going to be doing a presentation award highlighting accepting an award with dignity, grace, and sincerity. And it's about the Honorable Toastmaster Award. So let's please give a warm round of applause. Award.
Yes. Present it. Just
present it?
No. To do a presentation. Go ahead. Just a quick 5 to 10 second presentation. Honorable Toastmaster.
What an Honorable Toastmaster is it just embodies the values and principles that we see in a good Toastmaster. They are working hard on using less filler words. They take advantage of the entire space of the speaking area that they have. They are very accepting and they use pauses and silences in many great ways only to further and strengthen their messages. And that is what makes Maurice a very, very good example of what an Honorable Toastmaster is. And I'm happy to present this award to the Honorable Maurice. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I feel honored to receive this award tonight. And this was very hard fought. And not to toot my horn or anything like that, but I'll just give you a little story of when I first joined Toastmasters. When I first joined Toastmasters, I was looking forward to getting what was called the Competent Communicator Award. And it was a big hurdle because it was 10 speeches. And I've seen maybe 1 or 2 people my first year receive that award. And I thought that was a big step in itself to just receive the Competent Communicator Award. And in performing the speeches leading up to the Competent Communicator Award, I learned a lot from those who were in the club before me. And I remember, at least during 2 of my first 3 speeches, how I felt, I messed up during the speech. I think I ended one or two of them abruptly because the time ran out. But that's all in the process of learning on how to do a speech, and one will always learn how to do speeches through their own experiences and through watching others. So throughout the years, I just picked up tips here and there from different people, and then also advice from others who seen some of the mistakes or little errors that I have made during some of my speech presentations. So not only do I accept this award tonight, but I encourage everyone here to just go through all the steps and don't be fearful. And if you do make a mistake, or if you felt you made a mistake, don't be discouraged, because it's all a learning process in learning how to be a better communicator and a better leader. So Toastmasters not only teaches you how to be a communicator, but also how to be a leader. And that is done through the different roles during meetings, and also if you have an officer's position in the Toastmasters Club, or if you have a district leadership position in the area or in the district in Toastmasters. So there's a lot that you can pick up in Toastmasters, and Toastmasters has a lot to offer, and you can learn anything you want from Toastmasters. I mean, there are many different communication styles and different leadership styles, so there's not just one fixed communication style or one fixed leadership style. So you can be what you want to be as far as communication and leadership. So again, I am honored to receive this Toastmasters Award. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
It's with great pleasure, Maurice, that we present this award to you. Not only is it important for us to be thankful that we have good leadership and members like you who are always committed and following through on these Toastmasters goals, but it's very important that we celebrate our members who accomplish such important milestones. And I'm very thankful that I could present this award to you, and that we have a great audience to be witness to this award.
Yes.
Our next prepared speech tonight comes from a recently minted member named Peter, and he's going to be sharing a particular topic with us tonight for his prepared speech. And I and the rest of the group are very much looking forward to it. So let's please give a warm round of applause as we listen to Peter's message tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Tonight I'll be talking about headaches, specifically migraine. Migraine in 2012 affected 15% of the global population, approximately 1 billion people. 1 in 4 households in the US have migraineurs. The economic costs of migraine are approximately $36 billion a year, including the direct costs of medical care and the indirect costs of lost productivity. The prevalence is highest also during peak work productivity years from the ages of 25 to 55, but this doesn't preclude younger, older populations, as migraine is prevalent in the pediatric population as well as the elderly population. But to put it in perspective, asthma affects 25 million Americans, diabetes affects 30 million Americans, osteoarthritis affects 30 million Americans as well, but severe migraine affects 38 to 50 million Americans, with a female to male ratio of 3 to 1. Migraine is a clinical diagnosis, so a imaging or a blood work can't diagnose the disease. But the ICHD, which stands for the International Classification of Headache Diseases, has a classification system for migraine. Generally 5 attacks at least, lasting 4 to 72 hours. And out of the next 4 features I'm listing, 2 of these 4, one being unilateral, another being disabling, third being severe to moderate pain intensity, and pulsating features. And then the last criteria is one or more of the following, and that is either nausea or vomiting, or sensitivity to light and sensitivity to sound. So why does migraine occur, and what does it feel like? Well, there are genetic causes to it. There can be familial inheritance to migraine. Environment also plays a big factor into why patients may experience migraine. In general, pain is usually a protective feature. However, migraine doesn't seem to have a protective role in our bodies. The causes for this are thought to be neurovascular and involve the pain pathways in the brain. Typically, patients may have a prodrome period where they have nausea, craving for foods, irritability. This can last for a few hours to days. This can be followed by an aura, which is a visual disturbance, but not all migraineurs have aura, maybe about 15%. And then the headache occurs, followed by tiredness, difficulty concentrating. As you can see, this is very debilitating. If you want to enjoy life, if you want to work, you can't eat, you can't watch TV, read books because of these symptoms. Fortunately, there are a lot of treatments for migraine. A lot of preventive treatments that are oral medications, neuromodulation devices, as well as injections. Some of these medications are actually originally indicated for other diseases that have been found to be useful for migraine, have been FDA approved for migraine prevention, such as seizure medications, antidepressants, and blood pressure medications. There's also abortive treatments so that if you do have the migraine headache, you can take a medication or injection that will reduce the symptoms. It gives the patient a lot of flexibility and options to control this disease process. And lastly, lifestyle risk factors play a role. The problem is there are a lot of patients in the country that may have migraine, have not been diagnosed, or if they've been diagnosed, they haven't been treated appropriately. In 2012, there were only 416 headache specialists in the country. So how do we address this problem when there's so few providers and so many patients? Well, one is educating primary care providers to adequately diagnose and treat people with migraine. Also to let patients know that self-treating their headache can cause medication overuse headache, meaning taking over-the-counter medications on a daily basis. But I'd like to end saying that migraine can really affect work productivity and quality of life and have a huge economic impact on the U.S. as well as global. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Peter, for highlighting this important disease and what we can do as a community and take control of these types of problems into our own hands. Thank you so much. I need to apologize. I was another important role as grammarian is to share what the word of the day is. And the word of the day is impugn, and that means to criticize. Hopefully, we can incorporate that into the table topics portion of our discussion tonight. That is a good segue into having David, our table topics master, share with us what we're going to be discussing with table topics tonight. So let us give a big warm round of applause as we have David guide us through the table topics tonight.
Impugn, criticize, call into question, oppose, or attack. Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to Toastmasters. This is the table topic portion of the meeting, and table topic is a good opportunity for anyone to come up and practice just sort of ad-libbing. There's, just speaking off the cuff without preparation for just 1 to 2 minutes. So if anybody's new and has never spoken, you're welcome to come up and speak. And each time the Table Topics Master will have a topic to discuss, and it can be pretty much anything from what I've seen. And so for tonight, I wanted to share that last year my aunt and uncle, both of them, were admitted to a place called Atria. It's an assisted living facility. They both have dementia, and they were admitted to the memory care portion of that. So I went there with some family members to support them and visit, and the staff gave each of us this little box. It's called Storywise, and in it is just a bunch of little cards for different topics. And the idea is that not just dementia patients, but elderly people in general that are in Atria, a lot of times they're there and they're lonely and they're giving up on life. And these are just different topics, life topics that one can talk about to sort of refresh their memories and to get them back interested in life. So we don't perhaps fit that category, but I think these have got some really fantastic ideas. So I put some in my pocket to share with you tonight. And if we have a volunteer, I'll read the first one and you can come up and just discuss for 1 to 2 minutes the topic. Okay, Diego. So the topic is something you know today that you wish you could tell your past self.
Oh boy, this is a no-brainer for me. My fellow, thank you all so much. And David, thank you for the great topic. If there's one thing I could share with my former self, it is the fact that my dad impugned my abuse of video games to be true. What I'm saying is I think my dad and my mom were very right to explain to me that improper use and negligent use in video games could really eat away at my childhood and really make me feel less productive and not develop the study skills that I would need to be a good chemist, which I'm hoping to be now. I think that would be the most important thing I wish I could tell myself if I were younger. Fortunately, somehow, some way, probably from watching my parents being successful physicians, I've been able to reestablish important study skills and self-discipline habits that are helping me succeed in my chemistry curriculum right now. So to reiterate the point about what I think I wish I could tell myself in the past to be wiser today, it would be that my parents impugning me for my negligence on playing with video games too much was a very valid criticism that I should embody and practice today. Thank you, David. I'll return the lecture back to you.
Thank you, Diego. That's interesting. I remember when I was a student at South, sometimes I would leave class and get in my car and drive straight to Aladdin's castle. Because I'm old, and back then we had to go elsewhere to play video games. They weren't just on our phones. But there was a period in my life where that had a negative effect on me as well. So, do we have another volunteer? Okay, Cheyenne. This is discuss a particular person who changed the way you see the world.
Thank you. Hello, Toastmasters. I'm a guest. My question or my topic is to discuss with you a particular person who has changed the way that I see the world. This is hard for me because I surround myself with good people. I'm close to my family. So it's hard to pick just one because I feel like every person that I come into contact with changes my life in some way. But if I had to answer the question, I would have to say my dad is one of the top people who changed the way I see the world. My dad has passed away, but his memory is very strong. Even though it was a long time ago, he was such a great person and such an influence in my life that even after all these years, it's still very fresh, the lessons that he taught me and the experiences that we had together. So he was the type of person that if you wanted to do something, he would encourage you to go do it. He would not live a life in his own life as well. He did not live in fear. If he wanted to go out for a new job, even if my grandmother told him it was ridiculous or silly, he would still go after it. So he wasn't afraid to go after something even when other people told him not to. We moved from Alabama to New York City and back down and back there multiple times, which is awesome. I had some great experiences that a lot of people, may not get to say they've had. But he was just a go-getter, and if he wanted something, he was going to try it. And one thing that instilled in me all these years later is if you don't try something, you may look back with regret and wish you had, or wondered, well, what if I had done that instead? So I can probably say, for the most part, that I have lived my life in a way where if I want to go after something that's reasonable, that I will take the steps to pursue that. That way I don't have to look back and wonder, what if I had went for it? So that is who has changed my life and how I see the world.
Thank you, Cheyenne. My parents had quite an influence, of course, on me growing up, especially being an only child, so I can relate to that. So, I have another question here. Do we have any other volunteers?
I'll try it.
Okay, Olivia. Something you were once afraid of, but no longer fear.
Something that I was afraid of and no longer fear. Everything I was afraid of, I'm still. But I guess something that I was afraid of. I never said I was afraid to speak publicly. Maybe it would be afraid of dying. Maybe I used to have a fear of dying, but I think my spirituality has developed in such a manner that it's just important, the dash in between the date of birth and the date of death. So the most important thing is how I live every day. I still don't want to feel like I can leave my family in a position where they'll be mourning or, longing for me. But if I can just be as productive as I can and instill in my family and my children the values that they need to sustain life, then I think I no longer have the fear of dying. I just want to make sure I focus on the time that I have in between my day of birth and my day of death. So if I had to say something that I was afraid of that I no longer am, it would be a fear of dying.
Thank you, Olivia. I think fear of dying is something that is a universal thing, so that we can have a handle on it is great, because ultimately we're all going to die, but how we live is what's important. And I think you emphasized that very well. So do we have time for another? Are we doing okay?
Yeah, we have 7 minutes.
Okay. So another volunteer? Okay, great. This is a topic you have completely changed your mind about.
Or you can just tell us about yourself.
Yeah, if you haven't spoken before, you're welcome to just come up and just talk about yourself for a bit as well.
I'll just do that one.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Bailey Hoffman.
Hey, Bailey.
I just graduated over summer from the University of South Alabama, and I found out about this volunteered with the Sustainability Council at South, and he is now an officer, and I was the former president of it, so that's how we met. And he'd been telling me about this cool organization for a while. I have a funny story. Actually, last Monday I was downstairs studying, and I was done packing my stuff up, and here comes Diego around the corner. He's like, "Oh, hey Bailey, by the way, that cool organization I told you about, we're meeting tonight." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I checked it out, and y'all were great. Y'all were awesome. But Yeah, so about me, I still take care of the garden at South. I love gardening. My goal is medical school, so trying to I have so many hobbies. So that's kind of a definition of me, like eclectic, just everything. I like everything. So trying to fit it all together has been an interesting thing for me. But definitely, I don't really have a fear of public speaking, but it's definitely not something I'm great at. So I'm here to work on it. And I know you'll have a very comfortable atmosphere, so just put that out there. But yeah.
Thank you, Bailey. That was a nice introduction. Always good to learn about new people. So I have another question or another topic. Do we have another volunteer? Come on, somebody. Okay, Majid.
If it's hard, I'm gonna go my turn.
This is a really easy one.
You are, okay.
How you keep the little things from bothering you. The little things.
Hello all. The question I'm being asked is how do I keep myself not bothering the small things that we have every day? I think the easiest answer that I have in my mind is when you have the larger case in your mind, like what you're trying to achieve in a larger goal. If you have that in your mind, the small hiccups that you have in the pathway, or being late, little late, or the traffic jams on the intersection, and small things that come, small hiccups that comes in a project or any goal that you have, and then you have a larger vision that where you're going and how it would improve you. Like even in speaking, we all here for a improvement in our speaking, in our communication. You may have some small hiccups, like to manage time, but if you look at the greater area, how it would improve yourself, how it would improve your speaking skills, and how it would improve your confidence speaking to a greater audience, you would be able to digest those hiccups and grow over it. Thank you.
Thank you, Majid. Don't let the little things get to you. That's always. Okay?
One more.
One more. Do we have another volunteer?
I'll get it.
Okay, great. This will be advice you didn't take but wish you had. Have you spoken before?
I have.
Okay, great.
It's a complicated question. I have to.
Advice you didn't take but wish you had.
That's a tough one. I guess my attitude towards failure. If I could go back and talk to myself as a kid, I would say that everything is failure constantly. Like everything you do, you're going to fail over and over and over and over. Like you try 100 times, 99 times, you're going to fail. So you just keep on going and you'll get it. It'll be okay. It's a normal thing. Don't be afraid of failure. So just persevere, and that's how the world works. And I strongly believe in that at this point. You fail like every day, constantly, non-stop. So there's no point in sweating over or worrying about it. Everyone does it. It's part of being human. There's always that guy that just goes forth and everything seems to work out for him and stuff. And bless that guy's heart. That's great. But I'm not that dude, and there's nothing wrong with it. And glad to fail all the time. And then when you succeed, it's pretty sweet. So thanks.
Yes, I think the greatest people in life, or the most successful people in life, are the ones that realize and appreciate that failure is part of life. And if we're not failing, we're not succeeding either. I'd like to thank everybody for participating. It was really interesting. This is my first time as the Table Topics Master, so I'm happy to be here. And I'll turn back over to Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, David, for providing a great table topics portion of our meeting, and we're very much looking forward to you being it again in the future. Okay, so we've wrapped up with the table topics portion of our meeting, and we're going to one of our most important parts of our meeting, which is the evaluation portion. Not only is it important for folks to come up forward and shoot their best shot, but it's important for them to receive feedback on what they can do to make their next shot even better. That will be guided by the irreplaceable Olivia Carter. So let's please give her a warm round of applause. As she guides us through this portion of the meeting. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone, again. I am the general evaluator, and I think before I start my evaluation, I'm going to call up the rest of our reports. So we'll start with our first evaluator, which should be Cheyenne, because you're evaluating the first speech that we had, which was Maurice's speech.
Hello everyone, I am honored to evaluate Maurice's speech. He has been here a very long time and he's a good person to learn from. So I always enjoy when he gives the speeches that we get the pleasure of listening to. So today he accepted an award and I was convinced the award was real. I didn't know if it was real or not. So I thought he did very well. The speech was in itself was very effective. I feel maybe some more vocal variety. I know if it was an award just for the speech, it'd be hard to kind of hype yourself up for that. But if it was a real award, I feel like you would have been more excited, more vocal variety. Oh, thanks so much. I didn't watch the Oscars, so maybe But how did the speaker recognize the organization for winning the award? He did a great job recognizing the organization and how he's benefited from being a part of Toastmasters. I feel like every speech that you do involving Toastmasters, you do a great job selling it and do a great job really highlighting what each member will benefit from joining this organization. And you can tell that you believe in it and you enjoy being a part of it, which is awesome. Like I stated earlier, maybe to add some more sincerity to this, the thankfulness or the gratitude, maybe just some more vocal variety. Did the speaker appear comfortable and gracious while accepting the award? Speaker was gracious. I could not tell if there were notes on the back of the award. I know you don't usually use notes, but your eyes seem to kind of wander down to the back of the page. Which I knew you don't usually use notes, so I was curious. So maybe just more eye contact around the room. I know you chose this side, which feel maybe kind of limited vision on this side. But also for the type of speech it was, people don't usually walk around while they're accepting an award, but that was just one thing I noticed was the eye contact. And then I did like though how you did step away from, just stand behind this to kind of, you kept yourself open to us. Like, I felt like it was more sincere, like being open and not just like, I'm nervous, thank you for this award. So overall, I thought you did a really great job. And that is my evaluation.
Thank you, Cheyenne. I think that was a great evaluation. Maurice, I too noticed that you didn't have any notes and everything seemed to flow. And then when you would look at the back of I was like, wait, there's no notes up there. This is still coming off the top of his head. So, but I too was questioning, is he looking at something? No, he's just gathering his thoughts. Okay, so that was good. I enjoyed your speech as well. Our next speech was Peter, and he talked about headaches, migraines. And your evaluator is Kyler, correct? Come on up, Kyler.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. So I get the chance to evaluate Peter's speech, which is your first speech with us. But it seems like you may have given a speech or spoken publicly before because you seem like you kind of knew what you were doing. You seem very comfortable, you're very clear. The topic was really well researched. Loved all that. So basically the way the evaluation form is set up is once you give some general comments, it gives you, ask what did they excel at, what you want to work on, and how you should challenge yourself for the next speech. And then behind that, you have like kind of a rank on, out of 1 through 5, how did they land on the scale? And 3 is kind of usually the best score, but whereas like 4 and 5, you're getting into like professional speaking levels, as Diego once explained to me. So usually if you get a 3, you're doing good. If you get a 4 or 5, then you're doing amazing. So just to give you a heads up, in case you see that way you know how that's set up. Anyway, so I always start with start with like the criticisms and then move on to the positive. So to challenge yourself, I would say next time think about maybe asking the audience a question. I think with migraines, the thing that was most interesting to me is that it was relatable. Like as a kid, I dealt with migraines. I've got friends who deal with them now as adults. So maybe something like, who is a friend or a family member who deals with migraines, that would kind of like get the audience thinking and paying attention. Body language, you were good. You used your hands very well to illustrate things, but you did kind of stay kind of locked behind the podium. So as you're talking, like if you're giving like I said, you're giving like more of an educational speech as you move, that kind of keeps people, keep their mind, focused and things like that. And kind of, keeps interest up. And so now onto the positive things. Clarity was amazing. Like most people, when they get up and start speaking in front of people, they, like me, I probably say at least 15 times. And then, my other one is, I just said it, so that's fine. So I didn't hear any of that out of you. I heard it was clear, it was concise, especially considering it was a very, academic and, topic. So you did a great job. And then, like I said, the topic was great. It was very relatable, it was very understandable, and it was something that I think everyone is affected by to some extent. So, anyway, thanks.
Thank you very much, Tyler, for your evaluation of Peter's speech. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. It seemed very informative, very comfortable. I don't think this is your first time speaking, is it?
Yeah, Toastmasters, yeah.
Well, I mean, just speaking in general.
No, not the first time, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you seem real comfortable. And we'll talk about that when I go over my evaluation. Let's keep on. Let's keep on with the rest of the report. So I have a timers report, and that's Tyler. Is that you going to do a timers report?
Okay. So for the timers report, Maurice with his speech, he had 3 minutes and 52 seconds. Peter's speech was 4 minutes and 49 seconds. Diego was, for his table topic, was 1 minute 25. And then Cheyenne had 1 minute 51 seconds. Olivia, for your table topic, you had 1 minute and 51 seconds. 1 minute and 27 seconds. Bailey, yours was 1 minute and 21 seconds. Yours was 1 minute and 22 seconds. And then, I'm so sorry, tell me your name one more time. Ben? Okay, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Anyway, yours was pretty quick. It was 43 seconds, which is still good. Like, still good. It's concise to the point, so that's good. Cheyenne's evaluation was 1 minute and 50 seconds, and then my evaluation was 2 minutes and 47 seconds.
Thank you very much for that. Our next report is the R counter, and we're going to have Mr.
Hey. So the R counter, I think I was still the winner on it. So starting with the Toastmaster, we didn't have any. The first speech, Morris, I didn't see any filler words, though I was involved in it so much that I might have missed. But by the time I realized, I didn't observe any filler words, as Morris usually likes to pause and he learns. We are learning from him. The second prepared speech, we had one and one but as we mentioned, for a new like a icebreaker kind of speech, it was very clean. David in his table topic had none. Cheyenne had in the table topic she had 2 and 1 in the evaluation, though the evaluation was a 2-minute session, but just one and very slight. Olivia, I didn't observe any. Bailey, I didn't observe any. I had more than 5, then had 2, and Tyler had more than 5.
just for clarification, that's just count all words and.
And so this is kind of words like I use between my sentences. So in this practice, yeah, we can explain those more, but you're trying to avoid those words and learn how to, if you want to stop, you just stop instead of using those filler words or so when you join two sentences.
Right.
No, you did a good job explaining it. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good explanation.
Good job explaining that, Majid. Next we have our grammarian reports. Diego, for that be you.
So my favorite part about grammarian is finding when people use really good vocabulary words. I'm a sucker for vocabulary. Tonight I noticed Majid used the word inculcate, which means instill by persistent instruction. This is when he was talking about how the all counter inculcates good behavior and better application of silences and discouraging filler words. So good job, Majid.
I didn't know that word.
Maurice, I didn't find any misuse of the English language. Peter had a great moment too. I noticed he used the word preclude. I believe it was in the sentence. It does, like, migraines are not precluded from younger like people who are more physically fit, for lack of a better term, and that means prevent from happening. So you are not precluded from suffering from a migraine just because you are physically fit or something like that. That was another great vocabulary term that I noticed from Peter. Another thing I noticed Peter used was he said ICHD and then he actually spelled out the acronym. I know if he hadn't spelled it out, I would have had no idea what you meant, what organization that was, or what they're all about. So that was it was very good to see that you made sure that that type of acronym was to be understood by everyone outside of the medical community. David, I didn't notice any misuses of the English language. Diego, I counted that I used the word of the day impugn once. Cheyenne, I didn't count any misuse of the English language. Olivia, I noticed at one moment as you were stepping up to the lectern, you said, I am the general evaluation, and then you quickly corrected to say, no, I'm the general evaluator. Bailey, I didn't count any misuses of the English language. Ben, again, no misuse of the English language. Kyler, I noticed in your evaluation, you said academic and like topic, and I felt that filler word kept you from wanting to really say, Peter, your topic was academic like in manner or topic. So that was just the only misuse of English language that I noticed. All right, back to you, Olivia.
Thank you. I think we have all our reports and our speech evaluation, so I will give my general evaluation. The meeting did start on time at 6:45. We talked about our club business. Maurice, your story of how and why you joined Toastmaster, I loved it. I really enjoyed how you did not use many notes, and you were very informative and you were comfortable, so I appreciate that. Peter, great job in your speech. As Carter and I were both saying, you seem to be real natural up here, so I just assumed you had done some research papers before on different medical topics, maybe especially with headaches and migraines, because you seem real natural. If you have, great. We're glad to have you do it with us or give a speech with us. And if you have not, then kudos to you because you really did a great job. You looked around the room, you were very comfortable, knowledgeable, and informative. David, table topics master. I didn't realize this was your first time. So you did an awesome job. It's always good. What I like about you is your vocal variety, because you speak so, I hate to use the word loudly, but it's so clear, and sometimes you go up and down, so, and it's like, oh yeah, that's David, he's speaking, and it's always such a pleasure. And then when you said about, you have the box of topics, and that it's good for elderly people, especially those with dementia, it kind of stimulates their mind. And it just got me thinking, I think that we all should want to stimulate our minds. And even though there's those sensitive topics like religion or politics that we all try to get away from, but those are the things that are happening in the world around us. And even if you don't want to talk about them with anybody else, those are just some things that you can really use to stimulate your mind. So I think in addition to Marcus, and we're always saying how Toastmasters is good for communication and leadership, another thing that we should thank Toastmasters for is the stimulation, because if you use Toastmasters to its fullest ability, then you definitely will have your mind stimulated. The word of the day, good job, Diego. You used it, I know at least once I heard it. And Bailey, that was beautiful. I was so glad to hear you come up and you just took charge of the room. So never would have. I heard when you said that you're not afraid to speak publicly, we can tell. So you did a very good job. And you say you're into gardening, and when I was thinking about something that I used to not like and now I'm not afraid of it anymore, I was thinking of all the bugs that I hate. So, yeah, so definitely, no, I still don't like them. So I envy anybody that can garden. I just think it's so cool to have, be able to go out and get your own fresh vegetables or flower gardening or whatever. But the thought of going out there and running into a creature, no, thank you. I just simply can't. But if any of you guys want to garden, give me some tomatoes and avocados, thank you. So, how do you keep the little things from bothering me? I think that was a great job, Majid. I mean, everyone's answers were good, but I was wondering, what would you have said? What were you going to say? Because it's the little things that bother me. The big things rarely bother me. The fact that this floor is real soft in spots bothers me. And I'm thinking, oh God, I've never sat over there before. Please throw it over this way now. I'm over there praying. Like, oh God, just go through stuff. So I don't think consider it small or large, but things like that bother me. Big things just really don't. So thank you for your answering. You're right. If we're not failing, then you said it then, and definitely again, David, if you're not failing, then you're not succeeding either, because you're not doing anything. You have to fail some stuff. So David, I like the way you wrap things up. I don't think I've ever said thank you. And you look so warm when you kind of looked around the room and said thank you to everybody when you wrapped up your table topics. That's my favorite time of the meeting. And then you almost like gave everybody a virtual hug like this. Thank you guys for participating. And one more thing, Majid, when you said that, when we said that you had over 5 or us, this is not your first language. So to hear you so clearly speak, I envy that as well, because I have been trying to teach myself Spanish, I think, for about 10 years, and I still can't say much past Buenos Dias. But so just because this is not your first language, I think if you said every other word and you were still able to get across what you were trying to say to people who do not speak but one language, I think you're doing a great job. So I don't have any other ways I could impugn anyone, because everyone did such a good job. That is my general evaluation, and I will turn it back over to our table. I'm sorry, to our Toastmasters.
Thank you for bringing the word of the day at the last minute. Excellent work.
I'll take credit for that, please.
And don't go too far away now, because we have a very special treat for you all tonight. Olivia was kind enough to provide the education overview for our meeting tonight, which comes from the Moments of Truth program from Toastmasters. So basically, many...
I'll describe it.
Okay.
Don't describe it. That's part of my speech.
Don't let me take your thunder away.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Let's give her a warm round of applause.
So for those of us who do not know, the Moments of Truth is a tool that enables sustained club quality through guided evaluation and targeted recommendations. Each moment of truth represents an opportunity for the club to create a positive impression. A high-quality club encourages and celebrates member achievements, provides a positive, supportive, and fun environment, offers a professionally organized meeting with variety. Club officers are trained in all aspects of club quality. Members have access to a formal mentoring program. Members are provided evaluations that can help them grow, and members are motivated to achieve their goals. So Moments of Truth. When anyone comes in contact with any aspect of Toastmasters, the person forms an impression based on his or her experience at that particular time. These decisive times when initial impressions are formed are known as moments of truth. My moment of truth is fellowship, variety, and communication. Guests should be greeted warmly. So, and we really have to focus on that. When someone comes in, when I first started Toastmasters, I wasn't overwhelmed, but everyone was just so pleasant to me, so nice, so warm, so inviting. And I try to make sure that I share that with the new people, as well as make sure that we stay in communication, keep those lines of communication open with our fellow members as well. It should be an enjoyable educational meeting. I said from the very beginning, and it was so funny when Karen started coming, because she said the same thing, that she likes for the meeting to be a little loose. You know, it shouldn't be so uptight. I mean, we've worked all day, or it's Monday, and everybody always talks about Monday being blue, or what have you. So when we come here, it just shouldn't be so formal to the point that we're like soldiers. We should be relaxed, and it should be enjoyable at the same time as educational. Regularly scheduled social events. We're going to work on that. Because we don't have a lot of social events, but it's not hard to do. I mean, anything, it's enough of us in this room that I'm sure we share some like interest, some common interest. And I've even thought about maybe we should just like pass out a little questionnaire. What are some of the things you like? What are you interested in doing? And then we can come together on some of those things and just decide what it is that we can do together as a group, you know. So, because again, we want to make this an enjoyable experience. You shouldn't just come here, oh, I got to go here and practice how to speak because my job wants me to, or because I really want to do better at this. Yeah, all that's important. We do want to do better at speaking and being a leader, stimulating our minds, but at the same time we want it to be enjoyable. So participation in area, district, and international events. Every year Toastmasters International has events that is worldwide. So I remember the first year I joined, I can't remember if the event was in Denver or somewhere, and I was on the website and I was like, wow, this is a big ordeal, you know. So there are opportunities for us to become involved in international events, and maybe we can, you know, try to do something together as a whole. There are area and district events as well. So we do have to do better about making sure that we communicate those things so everyone will be aware. Inter-club events. We've had a few events here. We've had an open house here once before. We're looking to have another one, and we have some hors d'oeuvres or, you know, some little treats and things like that. So that was fun. It was interesting. It did bring a few people in, and maybe we need to try to do that more often. Maybe once a quarter or so, we should have some type of open house and just try to get more people in. Club newsletters and our website updated regularly. Maurice, for those of us that are new, as you can see, we have a camera here, so Maurice does put this on YouTube every night. So in the morning, it will be there. You can go back and look at it. I use it. It is a very useful tool. Sometimes I've been thinking, Carol, did you even comb your hair before you got And other times, it really helps you to think about those ahs and ums and the filler words and how much you look around the room and did I pay attention and what were my fears and did those fears come across to anyone else. So having that website is good, but to use it as a method of communication, I do think we need to get a little better with that. We do have a Facebook page that I found out about later on. Okay, so it was not like that was presented, hey, follow us on Facebook or any other social media. So the moment of truth is, again, when the guests come in or new members decide to join, what is your overall impression? And it is our goal as officers of Toastmasters to make you feel as warm and as inviting as possible, but also to make it a fun and educational experience. My educational overview was fellowship, variety, communication. I am Olivia, and I am secretary this year for the Toastmaster Hilltoppers, and I will pass this back on to our Toastmaster for the evening.
Thank you so much, Olivia, for sharing really great feedback on what activities or what new activities or new habits we can incorporate into our meetings in order to make it a more enjoyable experience and to build a sense of community with our Toastmaster members. Thank you so much. I wrote a few good ideas down and we can talk about them in the future. let's see, we are just a minute under 7:45. We do not have awards tonight. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting for tonight. Thank you all so much for coming, and you can see us at the same, I think the phrase is same bat channel, same bat place.
Same back place.
Yeah, that's it. Next week here, 6:45. Thank you all so much, and see you next week. Who said that? Same bat channel?